The World Economic Forum said, and this is a direct quote, "By 2030, you will own nothing and you will be happy." There's a new breed of poor people out there, some by societal design, some by choice. They don't look poor on the surface, but they are cursed to live their entire lives being anxious about money. Welcome to Alux, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Number 1. Your rent consumes. You lose half of your income, or you still live with your parents. You don't own much, and what you do own fits in a suitcase. If someone would just lend you one, they told you, location, 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 and now you're paying a premium price for a broom closet and a toilet. You tell yourself that it's fine because you wouldn't live anywhere else. But for the first time in modern history, we have multi-generational mortgages, meaning your parents have a mortgage that they won't be to pay in their lifetime. So they pass it off to you in the hopes that you'll become the owner. Owning a home is one of your biggest goals in life, yet you don't understand the house you live in is not an asset, but a liability. Hearing that doesn't make sense to you, which is why you're one of the new poor. Yes, okay, the boomer generation screwed everything over for you, but there needs to be some level of personal responsibility if you're ever going to make something happen. But hey, math makes your brain, and you're more of a soft skill personality type. Your emergency fund is under $1,000. Basically, you've got no emergency fund. Ask yourself truthfully, if you had no ability to generate money starting today, would you be able to afford your current lifestyle, rent, bills, food, health 3 months? If your answer is no, then know that you are what's considered to be the new poor. You are one small emergency away from personal bankruptcy. The last time something like this happened, you either borrowed money or pawns or sold some of your stuff. You justify it by calling yourself a free spirit and say that possessions are holding you back, when in reality, you feel lost and anxious. You blame it on the state of things, on capitalism, on the world being on fire. But the truth is, you avoid thinking about it the same way people avoid going to the doctor, because they might find something is wrong. Your decision not to face the demand. The truth is only doing you more damage later on, but you're okay with that because, hey, that's future use problem. Number 3, you don't have a career, you have a job, and even that might be taken over by AI soon. And you barely earn enough to cover your living costs, and you go out a couple of nights a month. You've got a certain lifestyle that hangs on by a thread, but since that thread hasn't broken so far, you keep at it. This job isn't what you want to do, so there's no point in figuring out how to get promoted, because that would mean even more responsibility doing something you hate. So you do it poorly, but not poorly enough to get fired or anything. And in exchange, your boss pays you just enough so you don't quit. You're both unhappy with this arrangement, but you push through. You've got this idea of buying land out of the city, growing your own food, and maybe having some small rentals that would supplement your income, or doing something creative with your life. But you've been having these ideas for over a decade, and you haven't done shit. You don't see technology as a threat because you think you'll be able to reinvent yourself anyway. But there are fewer and fewer avenues where that might be the case. So deep down, you just block all this out. Number 4, you've got student debt, or other debts for that matter. You realize your degree didn't do much in today's economy. You keep pursuing this field of your specialization just so you don't feel like you've wasted all that money. But no plumbers and electricians are out earning you by a landslide. The thing about debt is you have to realize that you're not even broke. You're less than broke. A homeless person on the street might not have much, but they're above $0. You, on the other hand, don't have that luxury. You're actually on the negative side. You need to work for several years to catch up to them. And even when you do generate income, the bank that acts as your master needs to get paid first, so you survive on what's left. If you are unable to pay, it's like your student debt gets handed off to your children. Let that sink in. Number 5, you've got no investable assets. If you want to grow your wealth, you need to own something that generates or increases in value over time. Your car, for example, that's a liability, not an asset. You need to put gas in there, you've got to change the oil, you have to fix it up when it breaks, pay for insurance. so it's costing you money just to have it. What do you have in your life that's either making you money or going up in value consistently? This right here is why 90% of the population is struggling financially. You love going to Starbucks and buying overpriced coffee and snacks, but do you own any Starbucks stock? Do you know that you can buy one share of Starbucks for only like $100? Most platforms today allow you to buy less than that in a fractional share. If the company does well, not only does the price of your stock go up, but you get paid dividends. For example, Starbucks pays a 2% dividend. That means for every $100 you invest in Starbucks, you're getting $2 every year. And there's no limit to how much or how little you can buy. Number 6. Inflation is outpacing your earning power. You know you're the new poor when things are becoming more expensive, faster than you're able to increase your income. Right now, the price of goods and services in the US is approximately 20% higher than it was 5 years ago. Houses are 23% more expensive. Medical services are 47% more expensive. The list goes on, okay? And it doesn't look like things are going to get any better anytime soon. If your income didn't increase by 50% in the last 5 years, you're 50% poorer. To put things into perspective, you're experiencing the highest inflation in the last 40 years. In other words, this is the worst you've experienced so far. That safe and stable job, well, it might not cut it for much longer. Number 7. You use payment plans to buy things, although you end up paying more. Buy now, pay later services and installment payments are everywhere these days. You mean I can just pay a little bit now and get my hands on it immediately, and then pay the rest later in multiple installments? Sure, sign me up. But what most people don't realize is there's an interest attached to this service, which can be up to 30% more if you were to pay the full amount. Let's say a phone costs $1,000. You can either pay the $1,000 up front or get it in installments. Most people assume the installments would be 4 payments of $250, adding up to $1,000. But that is not how it works. The average retailer will typically charge a flat interest rate between 11 to 27%. So instead of paying 4 installments of $250, you agree to pay 4 installments of $300. At the end, the retailer pockets $1,200, $200 more than what you should have paid. Just because you have enough money in your pocket to take it home today doesn't mean that you can afford it. Number 8. You transact primarily with digital money, not cash. If we were to tell you that cash was a superior form of payment from a value perspective, you might call us crazy. It takes 32 digital transactions for the value to go from the individual to the credit card companies. So bear with for a second, okay? This will blow your mind. Let's say you've got $50 in your bank account. Every time you pay for something online with your phone or credit card, MasterCard, Visa, and the payment processors charge a fee of 2.87% to 4.35% for each transaction. To make matters worse, it's usually a small fee plus the percentage. You can ask any online retailer and they'll tell you exactly what their split is. So you take your $50 and you go to a retailer to spend it. Not all $50 end up in that retailer's account. Assuming a 3% processing fee, only $48.50 is available for that retailer to spend. The retailer goes and spends it. The processors take their cut once again, and out of that initial $50, you only have $47.30 left. They will chip away at it every time you use digital money to pay. Do this 32 times, and almost all of the value has been moved from the hands of society into the pockets of these businesses. So why was cash a superior form of payment? Well, if I gave you a $50 bill, you get $50. If you go somewhere and buy something worth $50, that person gets to keep all the value too. Not to mention that banking institutions, they charge you a maintenance fee just for keeping your own money in your account. Number 9. You are your parents' retirement plan. The new poor are chained to costs unrelated directly to them. Your parents did poorly in life. No savings, no investments, little pension. And now that they're older, you realize there's no real way for them to support themselves, so you have to step up. Your parents will need support, treatment for illnesses that become more and more frequent. You're happy to be there for them, sure, but you realize that you can barely take care of yourself. So your already poor financial life is taking an even bigger hit as the hole just keeps getting deeper.